Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really cutting through the hype around AI.
Yeah.
We're going to dissect Richard Sutton's, pretty powerful critique of modern deep learning and LLMs.
Right. And Sutton's a pioneer, so his views carry weight. He's basically saying the foundations we're building on are, well, shaky.
So our mission here is to really get into the technical and, I guess, the philosophical gaps that he and his critics are talking about.
Exactly. The source material we looked at suggests he's, quote, spiritually right about the limitations, even if the arguments aren't always constructive solutions.
Okay.
But the main takeaway, I think, is pretty clear. LLMs are amazing for automating stuff, obviously.
Yeah, no question.
But there seem to be these, fundamental flaws in how they learn and what that knowledge they have actually means.
Right. Let's jump right into that philosophical bit then, because it uses this really evocative metaphor. The critique says LLMs learn a language world model, which is just a shadow in Plato's cave.
Yeah, I love that metaphor. And what it means is, the model's understanding is totally dependent on its pre-training data.
The holy corpus, as they call it.
Exactly, that huge pile of text. It learns the abstractions we use to talk about the world, not the world itself, just the shadows on the cave wall.
And that dependency causes problems.
Big problems. It leads to this extreme rigidity. Performance plateaus quickly, and the models become really vulnerable if you try to teach them too much from experience later on.
Ah, that's the ontological crisis thing.
Precisely. The model just can't square new facts with its fixed, pre-trained worldview. It breaks, essentially.
Right.
And that fragility is why you get those classic LLM mistakes, those weird ad hoc singularities.
Like the doctor is the mother paradox.
Exactly like that. It
Yeah.
spits out contradictions because its brittle language model doesn't map onto, solid reality. There's no real physics in there.
Okay, so that explains the weird outputs. But Sutton's also looking inside the machine, right? At the learning procedure itself.
Correct. And it's important to distinguish here. He's not mainly criticizing the network architecture, like the transformer shape everyone's so focused on.
Wait, hold on. If the architecture, the big transformer, isn't the main problem, then why is everyone just scaling those up? Seems like that's all the focus.
Well, because scaling does work up to a point. But Sutton argues the issue is deeper, It's at the level of the gradient methods used for training.
How the network actually learns.
Yeah. That's what leads to what he calls network rigidity. The network basically loses its plasticity, its ability to keep learning effectively over time from new data.
Yeah.
He and his students have suggested things like sparse random reinitialization to mitigate that.
Like shaking things up a bit internally.
Sort of, yeah, but it still seemed more as a patch than fixing the root cause,
And that root cause, that rigidity, connects to the objective, the goal of the learning. Sutton calls next token prediction degenerate.
Exactly. That's the core objective flaw. What is the LLM actually trying to do?
Just predict the next word.
Right. And the critique says that's just the lowest level of dopaminergic surprise minimization, like finding the quickest, easiest reward.
Not really thinking ahead or having a purpose.
No, it lacks that bootstrapped hierarchy of goals, of cost functions that you'd need for real purposeful exploration or, intrinsic motivation. It doesn't want anything complex.
So we need systems that care about more than just, sounding plausible.
That's the idea. And if you look at other big thinkers like Hutter, they suggest maybe we should ditch next token prediction as the main goal entirely.
Really, what instead?
Start by modeling complex perception and action spaces first, like build a model of the world and how to act in it, maybe in the spirit of Solomonoff induction. And then maybe use all that web text later, just as fine-tuning. It flips the priority from mimicking language to understanding reality.
Wow, okay. So, wrapping this up, what does all this mean for the LLMs we use constantly?
Look, their success in automation is real. That's not going away. It'll probably increase.
Right.
But these fundamental problems, Sutton points out, plasticity loss, lack of real intention, they're still baked in. The fixes, if they come, will likely be pretty technical, maybe sparse, but they have to address that bedrock.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to chew on then. There's this huge tension, isn't there?
Yeah.
Between how incredibly useful these LLMs are, what they can do, and these deep, foundational, almost philosophical limits.
Yeah.
But they're ultimately just, shadows in a cave.
Yeah.
The utility makes us feel like they're intelligent, but the limits kind of expose something else. Maybe Sutton, the critic, has won more of the argument than we currently admit.